Summer is the busiest part of year at the Portland Museum of Art, a time when it always features a major exhibition.
This year, the PMA Summer Exhibition is devoted to some works by the great Maine artist Winslow Homer, works of his that are often overlooked.
The Portland Museum of Art owns paintings and sculptures and sketches by hundreds of artists. But there is one artist who, without question, occupies a special place here.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Winslow Homer is sort of the heartbeat of the Portland Museum of Art.
He is at the core of who and what we are, there's no doubt.
Winslow Homer has been very much on the mind of Museum Executive Director Mark Bessier. The museum's new exhibition, called Winslow Homer, Painter, Etcher, offers a fresh look at a side of the artist's work the public seldom sees, his etchings.
Winslow Homer made his most important etchings here in Maine at the studio. And no one had really done the research or presented all of these etchings in one place. First idea was to show the etchings, and then we thought, okay, all of these etchings came from amazing paintings and watercolors, so let's try to get the paintings and watercolors and put them next to the etchings.
Etchings had become popular with successful artists in the 1880s. They provided a way to reach new audiences and to make money.
Did Homer do a lot of etchings?
Not many at all. You know, there really is 5 or 6 that he published. We have 2 others that are one of a kinds that he did, but were more for experiments. But all of the major etchings that were published are in the exhibition.
Some of the works in the exhibition belong to the PMA, others to museums around the country. To better understand what influenced Homer in Maine, you can visit his oceanfront studio on Prout's Neck in Scarborough, which the museum owns and operates.
For people who are not from Maine, or haven't spent time in Maine in particular, it really must be pretty eye-opening to come out here, see the building, see the ocean, and then sort of have, I would think, that experience of, oh, now I get it.
Oh yes, and you hear that all the time. We have a lot of artists visit us. It's so fun to speak with the artists because they are honing in on different aspects and different cues that Homer was picking up on.
Homer lived and worked in this modest building. With its sweeping views of the sea and the ever-changing drama of nature, the studio provided unending inspiration.
This is a show really about the sea, and it ties back to Maine and our coastline. When he moves here in the early 1880s and stays until 1910, his obsession with water and nature takes over. And that's really what Maine can do to an artist. Come here, and then they become a different artist.
Among the works in the show, The Lifeline, a dramatic portrayal of what was a rather common occurrence in the 1800s, the rescue of people after boat and ship accidents.
This is not necessarily what people think of when they think of high art. This is ripped from the day's headlines.
It's totally ripped from the day's headlines. And he knew it, though. He absolutely knew it. This is the beginning of the moment when the Coast Guard was beginning to be formed because we were worried about ships being wrecked. And obviously being in Maine along the coast, this was a topic of interest.
It's always interesting to see how a work might have evolved, and in several instances, people will get a really good idea of that right here, won't they?
Absolutely. Like with Lifeline, we have 3 etchings that were made of Lifeline, and each one is a little bit different.
Since the time of the Civil War, Winslow Homer has been one of America's most popular artists, and he's never gone out of favor. Want evidence of his enduring popularity? Just look at what's in the PMA's gift shop. Homer coasters, playing cards, socks, and more.
Museums love to do Homer shows because everybody comes. They always come. It's a golden ticket.
This exhibition will not be moving on to other cities. After it closes in Portland, the works will go back to their home museums and may not be lent out again for a long, long time.
That's how valuable these works are and how important they are to the show. You may not see them for many years again. It's a truly extraordinary opportunity.
What will people who come to see this learn about Homer that they might not have known before?
They never knew he did an etching ever. The etchings are rarely shown. They're works on paper. It's not been a hot topic. And so the opportunity to put the etchings next to the paintings and tie them together and just think about how great this artist is and continues to be, it's pretty exciting. And once of a lifetime, as you said, you can only see it here.
I loved Mark Basir's comment about how artists come to Maine, and in many cases, Maine changes them.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And once you see where he was working out of, it's no surprise that a lot of his paintings look the way that they do. My imagination was going crazy because you look at some of the, like the scene where he's out, the person's out in the water, they're on the ship. It's like you're looking through that window in Homer's studio, and it's like he thought to himself, I wonder what it would look like if I put a person out there.
And the day that we were out there at the studio shooting that video, it was a bluebird day. It was perfect. But in so much of Homer's work, you have inspiration from storms, from tempestuous weather. And that's the kind of stuff that clearly he loved to capture. The exhibition Winslow Homer, Painter, Etcher is on display at the Portland Museum of Art through October 18th.
As for tours of the Homer studio in Scarborough, they have to be reserved in advance. You'll find information about the exhibition and the studio at portlandmuseum.org.